يوم ولا يومين إلا رجل كان يصوم صوما فليصومه متفق عليه. The Prophet of Allah, may Almighty Allah be pleased with him, said, no one of you should fast a day or 2 days ahead of Ramadan, except for someone, yasumu sawman, that he has been fasting before, faliyasumuhu. It is right for him to fast. What is the meaning of this hadith? Rasulullah sallallahu said, when the scholar was giving commentary on this hadith, he said it is not right for someone to fast 1 day or 2 days ahead of Ramadan. For instance, for example, if Ramadan is to be is if we are going to start Ramadan, for example, on that Saturday or Sunday, we cannot fast today, neither can we fast tomorrow. Rasulullah Sallallahu said in that hadith, illa rajulun, except for someone, kana yasumu sawman, that he has been fasting before, faliyasumuhu, he should fast. That means if someone always fasts Monday, Thursday, for example, and Ramadan happens to be on that Friday or Saturday, the person can what? Can still fast, can still make his fast on Thursday as he usually what? Do before. Because this is what? This is his usual habit. Unlike someone who have not been fasting before, now chose the day or a day or 2 days ahead of Ramadan, choose it to fast. This is not allowed in Islam, according to the hadith we read. Ibadallah. The first thing that we talk about the obligation of fasting in Ramadan. Everything has their rules, most especially when we are talking about act of ibadah in Islam. Ramadan is a seasonal ibadah. It is an act of worship that we do once, like we do it. It comes once in a year. It's not like Salawatul Maktuba that we pray it every day. It's not like so when we are talking about seasonal ibadah, Ramadan is part of what? It's part of seasonal ibadah. It is an act of worship that we do it once in what? In a year. So it is very important for us to know how to approach it. It is very important to know how to what? How to relate with it very well. About Allah. So the hukm of Ramadan, the rules of Ramadan is wajib according to al-ijma'. So the scholars, they let us know that fasting in the month of Ramadan is obligation. It is something that is obligatory to all Muslims. It is not something that we can bargain, because there is evidence of it in Quran, and there is also evidence of it in the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we go to Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 185, Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah, شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصومه. In Surah Al-Baqarah, the ayah that I just read, Allah Azza wa Jalla is talking to us. Allah says, شهر Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, الذي أنزل فيه القرآن, in which Quran is being sent down in it. So Allah Azza wa Jalla sent that Quran in the month of Ramadan for Hudan Linnas, so that it can serve as a guidance for mankind. Hudan Linnas, to be a guidance for mankind. Allah is the one who created this universe. Allah created this world. He now put us inside this world to be living. Let us take, for instance, if a white man manufactures something, they will always put something called a manual. That manual is going to serve a purpose for us to go and check, whenever anytime we want to repair that particular things, the manual is going to guide us in order to be able to what? To fix it. Allah Azza wa Jalla created this world. He now put us in this world. He gave us the manual. What is the manual? The manual to survive, the manual to be among the successful one in this world is Al-Quran Al-Azim. That is the reason why he said Hudan Linnasi. So Quran can serve as what? As guidance for mankind. Not only that, وَبَيِّنَاتٍ مِّنَ الْهُدَى. And Allah Azza wa Jalla said in this verse that Quran is also a clear proof for what? For guidance. A clear proof of guidance is Quran al-Azim wal Furqan, and it is also what a criterion that separates between false and what true, between good and what and bad. Allah said, "فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ," and whoever witnessed the crescent of what of the month of of the month of Ramadan amongst you, فَلْيَصُمْهُ, he should what? He should fast. So the word فَلْيَصُمْهُ in the Ahlul Nuhat, if we go to the people of Nuhat, the lamb there is called Lamul Amr. Lamul Amr is a lamb that is being used to command someone to do something. As Allah said in one verse in Quran that وَلِتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ ummatun litakum minkum ummah. The lamb there is known as what? Lamul Amr. So the lamb Allah used here is Lamul Amr. It is the lamb of what? Command. That means it is compulsory for you to what? To fast Ramadan whenever the moon is being what? Sighted. That is the verse. That is one verse in Surah Al-Baqarah that is telling us the obligation of what? Of fasting Ramadan. There is another hadith that was narrated by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, and this is a well-known hadith amongst every one of us. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Bunya al-Islam ala khamsin shahadat wa la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah wa iqam salah wa ita'u zakah wa hajjul bayt wa sawm Ramadan." The Prophet of Allah said Islam was being built on 5 pillars. Islam was being built on 5 pillars, and these 5 pillars, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned them. The first one of it is Shahadat wa la ilaha illallah, testifying that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, and also Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah. Iqam salah, the second pillar is praying, praying 5 times in a day. Ita'u zakah, giving zakat once in a year. Hajjul bayt, going to the house of Allah for whoever have that what capacity, to go. Then wasawm Ramadan, which is the fifth one, fasting in the month of what? In the month of Ramadan. These are the what? 5 pillars of what? Of Islam. Let us take for instance a car having 4 legs. The car cannot move without this 4 leg. If we remove one out of this 4 leg one out of the 4 leg of the car, the car will not be able to move from one place to what? To another. Likewise, Allah Azza wa Jalla, taught us through His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Islam has what? 5 pillars. That whoever wants to be a real Muslim must what? Must practice all these 5 pillars in according to Al Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So with these two evidence, we understood that fasting in the month of Ramadan, it is obligatory. It is important for every Muslim and the Muslimah. Ibad Allah. The second part of about Ramadan that I would like to discuss uh, today is Fadlu Ramadan. That is the virtue of Ramadan, the merit of Ramadan. إعلموا أن لرمضان فضائل عظيمة ومزايا عديدة لما لم تكن لغيره من الشهور. I want all of us here today to understand that Ramadan that we are talking about has a great virtues and it has a numerous merit that we cannot find all these virtues and merits in any other month except the month of what? Ramadan. So because of this, we have to prepare ourselves. We have to get ready, to meet up with all this merit, to be able to acquire all these merits and what virtue in this coming month of Ramadan. So the hadith that I will be mentioning now, these are hadiths that shows us the merit, the virtues that Ramadan has. One of the merits that Ramadan has is what we call it is mukaffira. When we say mukaffira, that it means something that can expiate or something that can expiate a sin from person. So we are ibadullah, we are the servants of Allah. None of us is complete. None of us is can say categorically I've been living throughout the years of my life without sinning, without having any sin. But Allah Azza wa Jalla, because of His mercy on us, He gave us some things, some acts of ibadah that by the time you are doing it, is going to be what? Serving as an expiator, that will be taking away those sins from our body. For instance, someone who has a clothes full of dirt, what we are going to do is that we are going to put the clothes inside the washing machine. Then after that, we now add detergent. That detergent we are adding into that clothes is going to serve as what, an expiator, to remove away the dirt that is inside that what, inside that clothes. Likewise, a Ramadan is also an expiator that is going to expiate or take away the sin that we have committed, since last year was Ramadan. Ibadallah. With the hadith that Al Imam Muslim alayhi rahmatullah narrated, he said, As-salawatul khamsi wal jumu'atu ila al-jumu'ah wa Ramadan ila Ramadan mukaffiratun lima bainahunna idha ijtunibat al-kaba'ir. The Prophet of Allah said, Salawatul Maktuba, that is Salawatul Khams, in the five daily prayer, wal Jumu'ah ila Jumu'ah, one Jumu'ah to another Jumu'ah, wa Ramadan ila Ramadan, Ramadan to Ramadan, mukaffiratun lima bainahunna. They are all expiators of a sin. Any kind of sin that a servant of Allah engage himself in within this period, this act of ibadah is going to take it away for him, on one condition, either shtuni batil kabair, if that servant, restrain himself from what, a major part of what, sin. So with this hadith, we understand that fasting in Ramadan is going to serve as what? Is going to take away all our what? Minor sin. And there's another hadith that Al Imam Bukhari alayhi rahmatullah and Imam Bukhari narrated. And this hadith, we all know it, Man Sawma Ramadan iman wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbihi. That Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever fasts the month of Ramadan with faith, on ihtisab, and having hope and reward from Allah, Allah is going to what? Forgive him his past sin. So that means Ramadan also, Allah can use it to forgive us our what? Our past sin. Ibadallah. There's another hadith that Al Imam Tabarani, narrated, when he was talking about the long dream of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, after he woke up, وَرَأَيْتُ رَجُلًا مِنْ أُمَّتِي يَلْهَثُ عَطَشًا كُلَّمَا وَرَدَ حَوْضًا مُنِعَ مِنْهُ فَجَاءَهُ صِيَامُ رَمَضَانَ فَسَقَّاهُ وَرَوَّاهُ. The Prophet of Allah said, he said, رَأَيْتُ رَجُلًا, I saw a person, min ummati, from my ummah, يَلْهَثُ عَطَشًا, he was panting for taste. That means he is thirsty. So كُلَّمَا وَرَدَ حَوْضًا, whenever he goes to the house, the ponds of water to drink, munia minhu, he will be what? Prevented from drinking the water. That means he will be what? Deprived from drinking the water. Faja'ahu siyamu Ramadan. Then after that, Siyam Ramadan, fasting, the fast of Ramadan came to meet him. After meeting him, Fasakohu, the month of Ramadan gave him water. So after that, Warawahu, and he quenched his what? His taste. So this is one of the benefits. That means the person that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was talking about is a person who always fasts Ramadan while he was alive. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, used Ramadan in order to what? To give him water while it was what? Tasty. Ibadallah. Another virtues of Ramadan. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إذا كان أول ليلة من رمضان صفدت الشياطين ووردت الجان وغلقت أبواب النار فلم يفتح منها باب وفتحت أبواب الجنة فلم يغلق منها باب ونادى مناد يا باقي الخير أقبل ويا باقي الشر أقصر ولله تقاه من النار وذلك كل ليلة. عباد الله. This is another virtues that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned in this hadith. He said, at the first night of Ramadan, إذا كان أول ليلة من رمضان, at the first night of Ramadan, صفدت الشياطين ومردت الجان, all the devils and all the rebellious jinns will be shamed. Not only that, وَكُلِّقَتْ أَبْوَابُ النَّارِ, all the doors that the airfire is having, all these doors will be closed. فَلَمْ يُفْتَى مِنْهَا بَابٌ, no door will be open in amongst the door of airfire. وَفُتِحَتْ أَبْوَابُ الْجَنَّةِ, And also the doors of paradise will be widely opened. Falam yuglaq minha babun. And there will be no door that will be closed among the doors of paradise. Then after that, wanada munadin, a caller will call and we say, Ya baghi al khairi, I call upon you that you always seek, goodness. You always like doing good. Akbil, advance in your effort. That means advance in doing good thing. Those of you that you always do good thing before the month of Ramadan, you have been a good person. You have been a righteous person. Akbil. This is the time that you have to advance in your what? In your goodness. You have to have, if you are a kind of person who always gives sadaqah, this is the time that you have to what? Advance in giving sadaqah. If you are the type of person who always, do tilawatul Quran, this is the time that you have to what? Advance in that. Any kind of righteous good deed that you have been doing before Ramadan, this is the time that you have to what? Advance in doing that. وَيَبَاغِيَ الشَّرِّ. And those of you that you have been doing bad things before Ramadan, also restrain yourself from that. Because وَلِلَّهِ وَتَقَاهُ مِنَ النَّارِ. Allah Azza wa Jalla will be freeing people from hellfire. وَذَلِكَ كُلُّ لَيْلَةٍ. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, and this is every night of what? Ramadan. That Allah Azza wa Jalla will be setting people from what? From hellfire. Ibad Allah. So with all these hadiths that I've mentioned, we understood that Ramadan has a what? A great virtues that we should try our possible best in order to acquire all these virtues in this coming month of Ramadan. Another thing I want to mention, I want to remind ourselves because this is what we have been doing. But let us remind ourselves because Allah always, tell us in Quran that فَذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. That always remind yourself because reminder always benefit those who believe in Allah. And that is one of the main purpose of coming to masjid and every Friday to listen to what khutbah, so that we can remind ourselves, so that we can what we can be increasing in faith and the deen of Allah. So, what are the righteous good deed that we can engage ourselves in, and what are the benefits of this? I want you to understand that for every righteous good deed in Ramadan has double reward. His reward is going to be what? It's going to be double other than before. The first righteous good deed that I'm going to remind ourselves is a sadaqah. Ibadallah. Giving sadaqah is very, very good, most especially in the month of Ramadan. When we are talking about sadaqah, it can be zakat, it can be giving zakat, and it can be ordinary what? Sadaqah. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said in this hadith that Abdul Sadaqah fi Ramadan. The best form of sadaqah you can ever give is the sadaqah you give in the month of what? Ramadan. Ibadallah. There's another hadith. Let us look at this hadith. For those of you who have been engaged in giving people iftar, most especially at the month of Ramadan, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Man fattara sa'iman ala ta'amin aw sharabin min halalin, صلت عليه الملائكة في ساعات شهر رمضان وصلى عليه جبريل ليلة القدر." Subhanallah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, people, whoever feed people by giving them food or giving them water, min halalin, from right source at the month during the month of Ramadan, sallat alayhi al-malaika. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the angel of Allah are going to be what? Sending prayer upon the person. Fi sa'at shahr Ramadan, in every time, every hours of what? Of Ramadan. Subhanallah. Not only that, at the night of Laylatul Qadr, Salla alayhi Jibril. Jibril will be praising, Jibril will be praying for such person. So Ibadallah, let us strive our effort. If you are the kind of person that you have been giving 5 people iftar before, have that intention that I'm going to increase from 5 to what? To 10. If you have not been doing that, have it in mind that even though if it is just one person, you are going to give iftar. Look around you, look at the less privileged people among you, and try to give them what? Iftar. Because this hadith that Rawahu al-Imam Bukhari wa Muslim, that Rasulullah sallallahu said, "Man fattara sa'iman falahu ajruhu min ghairi an yanqusa min ajri as-sa'imi shay'un." Rasulullah sallallahu said, "Whoever feed a fasting people, a fasting person, he is going to have his reward without his own reward being what? Reduced." That means you are going to have what? Double reward. So I urge each and every one of us to put that in mind, that we are going to do as much as possible iftar for people in this coming Ramadan. Another righteous good deed that I would like to mention is Qiyamul Layl, standing up in the middle of the night, praying to Allah. Rasulullah sallallahu said, "Man qama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban, ghufira lahu ma taqaddama min dhanbihi." That whoever stood up in the month, in the night, during the night of Ramadan, having faith in that and also having hope in Allah, Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to what? Forgive him his past sin. Rasulullah sallallahu when Ramadan come, he always stand up in all the night of what? Of Ramadan. وإذا كان العشر الأواخر أيقظ أهله وكل صغير وكبير يتيم الصلاة. At the last 10 of Ramadan, Rasulullah sallallahu always wake up all his family, both the young one and the old, both the young one and the old one. For any one of them that is capable of praying, Rasulullah sallallahu will wake them up. So let us have this in mind. Make sure you have that mind that, oh, the Taraweeh of this year, inshallah, we and the Imams, we are going to what? Make sure we are what? Establish this together. May Almighty Allah make it easy for us. Then the third, righteous good deed that I would like to remind us, because these are the things we know, but we are here to remind ourselves. Tilawatul Quran al Kareem, reciting Quran as much as possible in this coming month of Ramadan. Because Rasulullah sallallahu إذ كان رسول الله عليه وسلم يكثر من تلاوة القرآن الكريم في رمضان وكان جبريل عليه السلام يدارسه القرآن في رمضان. Because Rasulullah sallallahu used to always recite Quran, often in the month of Ramadan. Not only that, Jibril will come from the seventh heaven to come and meet Rasulullah sallallahu and they will be reviewing Quran all together, like our Imam always do in the month of Ramadan. After the first two Taraweeh, he's going to sit down and start doing Mudarasa. What he's doing is Sunnah. We call it Mudarasa, like reviewing Quran, what Allah says, what Rasulullah sallallahu say. All this act of what? Ibadah, have a great reward from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Ibadallah. Rasulullah sallallahu كان يطيل القراءة في رمضان أكثر مما يطيل في غيره. Rasulullah sallallahu always prolong his recitation in the month of Ramadan more than he normally do, out of Ramadan. فقد صلى معه حذيفة ليلة فقرأ بالبقرة ثم آل عمران ثم النساء لا يمر بآية تخويف إلا وقف عندها يسأل فمن صلى ركعتين حتى جاء بلال فأذنه بالصلاة. Let us look at this. Huzaifa, one of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu pray behind Rasulullah sallallahu one night of Ramadan. So he said Rasulullah sallallahu recite Surah Al-Baqarah, the entire Surah Al-Baqarah. He finished reciting that. He went to the next surah, which is Surah Al Imran. Rasulullah sallallahu finished reciting that. He went to to another ayah, to another surah, which is Surah Al-Nisa. According to this narration, they said Rasulullah sallallahu will not pass a verse that calls a prayer except Rasulullah sallallahu will stop there and ask Allah and do prayer to Allah Azza wa Jalla. We make many supplications to Allah at that particular word verse. The Rasulullah sallallahu was unable to perform two rakah until Salatul Fajr. He was unable to perform two rakah until Salatul Fajr, until Bilal came to meet him and he called him to what? To Salatul Fajr prayer. To let us know how prolonged Rasulullah sallallahu normally what? Do his tilawat at the month of what? At the month of Ramadan. So we should also try to inculcate this habit by prolonging our Quran at the time of what? During the month of Ramadan. May Almighty Allah make it easy for us. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in this hadith, and this is a glad tidings for whoever do fast Ramadan or any other Ramadan that is not or any other fast that is not Ramadan, and for whoever do stand up in the middle of the night praying. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Asriyamu, fasting, wal qiyam, standing in the middle of the night praying, yashfiyani lil abdi yawm al qiyamah." These two acts of ibadah, they are going to intercede for the servants of Allah on the day of Qiyamah. The Sawm, which is the fasting, we say, Rabbi, oh my Lord, Manatu Tuham was Sharaba. I prevented him from eating. I prevented him from drinking bin Nahari during the days. ويقول القرآن Quran we say Rabbi, oh my Lord, Manatu Nauma Billayli. I prevented him from sleeping in the night. فَشَفَّعِنَا بِهِ. Oh Allah, allow us to intercede for him. Allow us to intercede for this servant, for his act of what? For the righteous good deed that he has been doing before the day of Qiyamah. Ibadallah. Another good deed that I want to mention is al-i'tikaf. Al-i'tikaf means وَهُوَ مُلَازَمَةُ الْمَسْجِدِ لِلْعِبَادَةِ تَقَرُّبًا إِلَى اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. When we are talking about itikaf, it means staying in the masjid for what reason? Not staying in the masjid to be pressing phone, but staying in the masjid to be what? Worshiping Allah, trying to get closer to Almighty Allah. Because فَقَدْ اِتَكَفَ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَلَمْ يَزَلْ يَعْتَكِفُ الْعَشْرَ الْأَوَاخِرِ من رمضان حتى توفاه الله تعالى كما ورد في صحيحه. Rasulullah sallam always stay in the masjid, and he never stopped staying in the masjid, most especially at the at the last tenth of what? Of Ramadan, until Allah took his what? His soul. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in this hadith that al masjid baytu kulli taqiyyin. Masjid is the house of everyone who fear Allah. Masjid is the house of everyone who have the piety of what? Of Allah. وتكفل الله لمن كان المسجد بيته بالروح والرحمة والجواز والصراط إلى رضوان الله إلى الجنة. And not only that, Allah is going to take care of everyone or anyone who take masjid as his house with what? With compassion, wa rahmah, and mercy, and also giving him safe passage on the sirat on the day of Qiyamah to the pleasure of Allah and to the paradise. Ibadallah, let us also what? Have this in mind. Also, another righteous good deed that I'm going to mention before I end the first khutbah is al-i'timar. Al-i'timar means what was ziyaratu baytillahi al-haram lit-tawaf was-sa'i fi Ramadan. I'timar means doing umrah, visiting the house of Allah by doing tawaf, by doing sayu during the month of what? Ramadan. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Umrah fi Ramadan ta'dilu hajjatan ma'i, that an umrah being done in the month of Ramadan is equivalent to performing Hajj with me, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And also another hadith that is a glad tidings for whoever want to do umrah, most especially this coming Ramadan, is al umrah to ila al umrah kafaratun lima bainahuma. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, one umrah to another umrah is an expiator in between the both. That means any kind of sin that we engage doing those umrah, Allah Azza wa Jalla will use it to what? Take away your sin. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وأتوب إليه. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله ثم أما بعد. عباد الله, as we are saying, this is another point I want to try to illustrate a little bit before we pray, which is the point of Thubutu Shahri Ramadan. How do we affirm the month of Ramadan? يثبت دخول رمضان بأحد أمرين. So we can affirm the month of Ramadan with these two matters, these 2 points. أولهما, the first out of it is كمال الشهر السابق عنه. This is the first point. That means making sure that we complete the previous month, which is the month of what? Shaban. We make sure what? We complete the month of Shaban to be what? 30. فإذا تم الشعبان 30 يوما. So if Shaban completes 30, فيوم الواحد والثلاثين huwa awwal yawmin in Ramadan qat'an. So if Shaban have completed 30, so the 31st of Shaban is going to be what? The first day of what? Ramadan, qat'an, without doubt. That is the first matter. The second part of it is ru'yatu hilalihi, witnessing the crescent of what? Ramadan. فإذا رؤي هلال رمضان ليلة 30 من شعبان فقد دخل شهر رمضان ووجب صومه. So if the crescent of Ramadan is being sighted at the at the 30th night of Shaban, at the 30th night of what? Shaban. That means Ramadan of what? Comes in, and it is mandatory to what? To start fast. لقوله تعالى, for the word of Allah that Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah 185, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْهُ, that whoever witness the crescent of the moon among you, فَلْيَصُمْهُ, the person should what? Fast. وَقَوْلُ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم, and this is another evidence from the word of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الْهِلَالَ فَصُومُوا وَإِذَا رَأَيْتُمُوهُ فَأَفْطِرُوا فَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ فَأَكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ 30 يَوْمًا. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الْهِلَالَ, if you see the crescent of the moon, فَصُومُوا, fast. وَإِذَا رَأَيْتُمُوهُ فَأَفْطِرُوا, and when you sighted it again, fast and stop fasting. That means break your word, fast. فَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ, and if the cloud covered the crescent, that means you are able to what? To see it. فَأَكْمِلُوا الْعِدَّةَ 30 يَوْمًا, make sure you complete the counting of the month to complete what? 30. If it is Shaban, that means you are going to complete it to what? 30. If you cannot see, if you are able to see the moon. And if it is what? Ramadan, we are fasting Ramadan, we've gone to 29 of Ramadan, we couldn't sight the moon at the night of what? 30th of Ramadan. That means the 30th of Ramadan is going to be the last day of what? Ramadan. We have to complete the what? The counting. Inshallah, I'm going to stop here. We have many talks about Ramadan, but the one we have just mentioned, may Almighty Allah make it beneficial for each and every one of us. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين والمجاهدين في كل مكان، وأعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين يا الله يا رب العالمين. اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان. اللهم انصر إخواننا المسلمين المستضعفين في فلسطين وغزة وفي سوريا وفي اليمن وفي السودان وفي أنحاء العالم يا الله يا رب العالمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. قوموا إلى الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله، أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، قد قامت الصلاة، قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
صلوا صفوفكم واعتدلوا يرحمكم الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أتأمرون الناس بالبر وتنسون أنفسكم وأنتم تتلون الكتاب فلا تعقلون واستعينوا بالصبر والصلاة وإنها لكبيرة إلا على الخاشعين الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو ربهم وأنهم إليه راجعون. يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just one quick announcement, inshallah. Next Friday will be the 29th of the month of Sha'ban. As we do it here, to follow the Sunnah, we go by the sighting of the moon. So, inshallah, next Friday by 9 p.m., we want to ask everybody to be here for Salatul Maghrib. And by 9 p.m., we'll make a decision whether we will start fasting on Saturday or not. So, next Friday, inshallah, after Maghrib, we'll make the decision when Ramadan will start. And also, we should be having the calendar for all the countries that will do the iftar on your way out. You will see it, inshallah. Just a heads up, the first countries that will sponsor the first Sunday will be Yemen, Jordan, Morocco, Egypt, Libya will be sponsoring the first night of iftar, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.